wherever you are tuning in to this episode of WaterCooler Wednesday. I am so excited. Stephanie and I recently met, and I immediately said, we need you on WaterCooler Wednesday. And you're going to see why. When I invited Stephanie on, I had no idea how fascinating she was. But I've been learning more and more, and I don't know how she does everything that she does. But I'm so happy to have you here, Stephanie.
Well, it's my pleasure, David. Thank you so much. It's been great meeting you. And I'm excited to talk with you and your friends today.
Yeah, so let me introduce you to everybody who doesn't know you. Stephanie specializes in coaching audiences to achieve peak performance, financial success, and personal satisfaction. The dynamic combination of her charismatic stage presence and award-winning ability to maximize sales in a competitive market provides Stephanie the unique opportunities to empower others to achieve greatness. As an ambassador of affirmations, I love that, Stephanie's proven mindset system transforms audiences and helps them break through limiting self-beliefs. Business and organizations nationwide rely on Stephanie's engaging and interactive speaking style to break down communication barriers and create effective working relationships. Stephanie is a master of communication who teaches others to take actions, overcome self-doubt, and enable change within. And she is passionate about empowering others through affirmations. And she recently collaborated and co-authored an Amazon best-selling book about overcoming objections, breaking through limiting self-beliefs, and transforming thinking. Although you didn't give me the title of the book, I think we're going to have to do that, right? So we'll definitely talk more about that. Stephanie currently serves as the 2023 board chair for the Metro North Chamber, and that's right there somewhere in Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
She volunteers in children's ministry at Eaglebrook Church and has been the master MC. Okay, pay attention. Stephanie has been the master MC for the Bald Eagle water ski shows for over 29 years. We're going to talk about that. She's a lifelong resident of Minnesota, where she attends the U of M in Duluth, studying public relations and communications. Her favorite role in life is being an aunt to 9 nieces and nephews and 3 great nieces and nephews. That's awesome. Welcome, Stephanie. That is quite a resume.
Thank you. Thank you. I was going to say, wow, that's a lot.
You're right. You're like, ooh, who's he talking about?
Who is this person? Yeah. I like her.
And you leave off certain things like your 25 years of experience in corporate America. And like you didn't even put that in. So we're going to get to as much of this as we can with Stephanie, but we'll see. We might have an episode number 2 for you. I don't know how we're going to cover it all. But I did warn you that we start these things with our 6 in 60. So 6 rapid fire questions, 60 seconds, not each, but to answer all of them. And if you don't get all 6 within 60 seconds, then we just terminate the interview right then. So no, no. If you do get all 6, you'd probably be one of the very, very few elite that have done that. They're not really designed for that. So,
okay.
And for all of you who are tuning in live, thank you so much for being here. Play along. You send us your answers to the things that are applicable. And throughout the interview, if you have questions or comments, please, that's why we do these live. All right. Stephanie, you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Here we go. When you're feeling overwhelmed or burned out, what do you do to reset and recharge?
Number 1, some breathing exercises. Just take a moment, take some deep breaths in, say some positive words of affirmation, and maybe go for a walk, do some qigong exercises, and go.
Nice. Speaking of affirmations, what's one affirmation you use all the time?
Well, I'm going to talk about it later today. My name is Stephanie. I'm a strong, talented, energetic, fierce, amazing, never quits, inspiring woman. Those are the letters of my names
Oh,
and words that coordinate with my name.
wow, love it. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
I'd want to have an amazing voice. I love to sing. I'm not a good singer, and so I would just love to be able to be the best singer in the world.
Nice. I like that. I no singing ability here. Best piece of advice or wisdom you've ever received?
Probably from my dad. It's just something simple like never give up. You get knocked down, just get right back up again. Get knocked
Yes.
down, get back up again. And
I think I learned
so,
that from Chumbawamba or something. Get knocked
yes,
down, get back up, right?
right. Sometimes they
um,
say, when I was younger, they had those um, blow up kind of dolls or whatever. You like punch it and it like
yes.
fall over and it get back right back up
Like that
again. So,
clown. Yeah.
yes, yeah, exactly. That's how I look at it. That's what's in my mind. Like, okay, I got to get back up again.
What's one, because we're still in rapid fire, although nobody would
Oh,
have any idea. What's one misconception people have about affirmations?
oh, that they're just maybe hokey or they don't really work or it's not for them. It's fluff and it's 100% not true.
Cool. We're going to talk about that. And in 5 words or less, here's number 6. In 5 words or less, what's the meaning of life?
Oh, wow.
When I said no
Just
gotcha questions, that's kind
okay.
of a gotcha
The
question.
meaning of life. Well, just to live out your purpose, just live out each day. Every day you wake up and you take a breath, just live it out with joy and just love on people and just know that you have a purpose. Everybody is here for something and just figure out what that is. No matter how small or how simple it is. Just find your purpose and just live it out with joy and love on other people.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Okay. You did it. Oh, kind of. We made it through. That's
All right. I was just
not
like, come on,
bad.
I'm Italian. I talk a lot. My hands are always moving.
Mm,
So, I don't know. There's a lot I can do in 60 seconds.
I hear that. Well, the important thing is the content of the answers was A plus. That was great.
All
Um,
right.
Lena, past guest and mutual friend, said, I don't think anyone has ever beat the clock. Lena's saying that because Lena did not beat the clock. But I think we've got like maybe 3. I'm going to go back and check the records because I should send those people a trophy. And everybody else gets like a participation trophy. Uh, so, all right, Stephanie. Normally, I would start by asking people about their origin story, and we're going to get there with you. But first, I want to make sure that I'm not being punked because I'm like 50% sure that I'm being punked when somebody from Minnesota tells me that they MC and they've been doing this for what, over 20 years, MCing water skiing. It's water skiing?
Yes.
What does that even, I don't even know what it means to MC water skiing. And I don't know how you do that in Minnesota because I have an unusual amount of friends from Minnesota, given that I'm here in Baltimore, Maryland. But every time we get on a Zoom, it's snowing outside.
Well, let me share with you, David. Minnesota is the land of 10,000 plus lakes, right? So we're known for our lakes, and we do have a limited time in the sun to enjoy the nice weather. So I love to be active and be outside. And as a child, I grew up on a lake, water skiing. So there's snow skiing in the winter and water skiing in the summer, and it's an absolute blast. It's basically like a play on water. And
Cool.
so every year we've got a different theme and it's a super fun show. We do all kinds of acrobatics. We have a 5-foot ramp in the water. People ski over the ramp. They do flips. They ski barefoot. They ski
Huh.
backwards on tops of shoulders, all around, you name it.
Wow. So this is not like competition. This is an actual like choreographed show.
Yes, there are teams that compete, and so in Minnesota there's 7 water ski teams.
Yeah.
Wisconsin is the host to the most. I think they have like 37 water ski show teams in Wisconsin. But so we choose not to compete. We're really more just about entertaining. It's a fun family show. We do a show every Thursday night at our home show site. And then every weekend, in Minnesota, we're big for our town festivals and parades and all that kind of stuff. So we go to various town festivals and we're kind of the main attraction. So they're at their cabin for the weekend or they're looking for something fun to do with the kids. So you can come out and watch the water ski show. It's free. And it's entertaining, of course, because I'm help entertain. But so yeah, as the MC, I'm telling the audience, hey, watch, they're going to go over the ramp. And I kind of give some facts and figures. The boats are going 18 miles an hour. They're standing 20 feet in the air. There's certain terms and phrases for the different water ski moves that they do. So, and sometimes when they wipe out or fall, it seems like the audience loves that the most. We worked so hard to build a 20-foot pyramid, or these guys and gals practice to do their flips and jumps. And, people cheer. And then when they wipe out, it's like the crowd erupts.
That's all. I love this. This is one more reason why I need to make it to Minnesota one of these days soon. That's so cool, especially if it's during the 5 days of your summers. That would be amazing. That's so cool. The biggest bummer, maybe I need to start a live stream like devoted to that, because I don't want to talk about the rest of the stuff now. I've got so many questions about water skiing, but I'm going to respect yours and everyone else's time and get into the next question. Hold
on. You can check it out on Facebook. It's called Bald Eagle Water Ski Shows. So you can check out some pictures and little video clips at Bald Eagle Water Ski Shows.
Bald Eagle Water Ski Shows. I'm definitely going to make sure that we get that in the comments after we're not live anymore, so anybody watching the replay can get that link. That's awesome. Right. Thank you for that. And another mutual friend and past guest, Steve Fredlund, is saying, yes, you have to come to Minnesota soon. I might be there for his big book release. That could happen. So, All right, Stephanie, tell us your origin story. How do you get from water ski MC and corporate, mortgage and finance, right? That's where you were. And so you're doing all of this. And then pretty recently you left your corporate job to do this full time. You would hit that level where you're like, it's time to jump in. And now you're this keynote speaker and trainer on mindset and affirmations and communication. How did you get from there to here? Oh, yeah, thanks. And here's more water ski. There's the link. Thank you
Christy, one of our members. She's one of our amazing skiers. So awesome. Thanks for that, Christy. David, it's really crazy. I'm sure maybe a lot of people say it, maybe they don't. But if you would have told me, years ago, whatever, that this would be my life, I wouldn't have imagined it. But growing up, with the water ski team and the MCing, it was really kind of a fluke. It was kind of how I got into, speaking and getting crowds. I've always been an extroverted person. When I was in high school, I was on student council and leaders of, I was on the dance team in high school and college and captains of those teams and so forth. So I've always been a leader and always been passionate about, motivating and cheering people on and getting going. But, just a couple of things. Back in when I was in college, I ended up leaving college. My mom had passed away, and so I moved home from college. And I spent time with my family, and I was engaged to be married. And so I was going to be getting married and moving out of state with my fiance. And so one of the first things is I had quit my job, and I just took a job at a temp agency. Mm-hmm. And they put me in a mortgage office. And I was like, oh gosh, when I was in 5th grade, I went to summer school for math because I was so bad at it. And I didn't have to, I passed the class. But I was always kind of been a lifelong learner. And people in the class were like, why are you here? You don't even have to be here and you're taking it. I'm like, yeah, I want to better understand mathematics. And so the fact that I would get a job in finance and mortgage was crazy. But I started a job at this company. They had me just be an admin and assistant. I was going to be a temp agency, and I was going to be moving out to Nevada with my fiance. And probably working in the cosmetics industry out there because that's what my job was.
Mhm.
And kind of long and short of it, kind of ties into a lot. My ex-fiance decided that he didn't want to get married and he wanted to move on without me.
Oh
So
no.
about 30 days before we were supposed to get married, he said, this is not working for me. I'm out. So I'm like, okay, this is going to work great. Now I have no job because I was working at a temp agency.
Right.
I was just living at my parents' house, with my dad because, and he was getting ready to sell the house, and now I had no place to live. And
Right.
then now I have no boyfriend. I'm like, oh, this is great. My life is basically over. No
Huh.
job, no boyfriend, no house, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
so,
Awful.
um, so anyways, well, you know what? It's amazing. It all worked out for me. And you
Right.
know, that's phrase, it's like, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So the, president of the mortgage company said, you know, we love you. We think you have great energy. We'll teach you. So I learned the mortgage business. So I said, okay, I need a job I left the temp agency and then they hired me on full time. And so I was very fortunate just to learn from some industry experts, and I really liked it. And then that summer, you know, I was still kind of getting over the boyfriend and being single and figuring out life.
Mhm.
And my older brother, is on the water ski team, and he said, well, Steph, you should just come out and watch a water ski show. I'm like, no, I just want to lay in bed, pull the covers over my head, leave me alone. I just want to be depressed. And he said, no. So he said, come on. So I went out and watched put on a pair of shorts and a t-shirt and went out and watched, I was going to watch the ski show. And about 10 minutes before the show, my brother goes, Steph, the guy who's our announcer can't be here. Can you announce the ski show? There's 3,000 people on a beach, okay? And I've never announced a ski show before. He said, you know enough about it. You've watched the shows. You know enough about water skiing. You can do it. I was like, okay, because I love my brother and I'll help you out. So there I went. I got on a microphone and I
You walked
started.
right up. You walked
Oh,
right
yeah.
up. Wow.
And again, 3,000 people, and I'm supposed to
Yeah.
act like I know what I'm doing. I just made everything up. I was like, I don't know, like the boats are going 80 miles an hour. It's a 20-foot jump. I didn't know the people's names. I didn't know all the people in the show. So I was like, it's Bob, Sue, Mary, Tim, Tom, Joe, Bob, And, but I had such a blast. It was really a lot of fun. And I had so many people come up afterwards and compliment me and say, oh, that was really good. And I was like, oh. And I didn't really want to tell them that I had no clue what I was doing.
Right.
But
Were you just making up their names as you went? You're just
oh yeah, I didn't know any.
so
There's like
funny.
30 to 50 people on the team. I mean, I knew a
And
few
the
of them because
audience
they're
doesn't know the difference. And the people on the
no.
skis are probably not able to hear much anyway. They're out there on their skis.
Right. Oh yeah, they don't know. And the acts,
That's
I mean, I
awesome.
didn't know what I'm like, oh, they're doing a flipper whipper, I was just making stuff up. I'm like, oh, and there's the starboard move. And so what led me to public speaking, sometimes in the public speaking realm, they'll talk about be prepared. There's always going to be something that goes wrong. Be able to improvise.
Yeah.
I am the queen of improvisation because it has happened. The music cuts out. Somebody falls. Unfortunately, sometimes people have gotten hurt, and we're bringing out a stretcher. Okay,
Right.
don't look over there, people.
Right.
Look over here.
Right. Now you have like 1,000 or 2,000 traumatized kids. Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so I'm like, okay, quick, think of something fun, be entertaining. My microphone has gone out, so I've had to shout to crowds of 3,000 people and help them. So all of that really just kind of is encompassed as to kind of how I came about. So I got a career in the mortgage industry, and I did it for 25 years. I worked in mortgage sales, commission sales, and I loved it. And then it also, being in corporate America, gave me a great opportunity to speak and train and coach people. And it's really what I loved. I really, loved pumping up my team, those Monday morning meetings and
Yeah.
getting them going. I've got, I don't know if I have it here in my office. People didn't always really like it or appreciate it. I had like a tambourine and I got a clapper going. And,
Is this for your morning meeting at like 8 a.m.? Is that?
Yeah. I was trying to see. I thought I had it right here, but after a while, the people told me to just put it away because I'd get on a meeting, I'm like, and playing my instruments, and I had a couple of my employees call me up and be like, "Save it,
Yeah.
Okay. This business is really hard. I've had a really crappy day. People are
Yeah.
just getting down on me. I'm stressed out. I'm like, well, okay, but I'm not,
Right.
and I'm not going to allow that negative energy. And I get it, I get there too. I don't always have this high energy mindset. I have moments, but that's again why I'm passionate about speaking on affirmations, because it is true. I got to look up all the psychological proof of it, but I read it on the internet, so I know that it's true. Um, but it's not possible to hold a positive and a negative thought at the same time.
Yeah.
It is, your brain isn't wired that way. So you get to choose. Do you want that positive thought or that negative thought? And when I'm coaching, when I was leading my team, talking about how we're going to get through. I mean, the mortgage real estate industry, it's been like a roller coaster at Disneyland, like amazing, great highs, incredible lows. There's days,
Yeah.
and I thought, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I say that every gray hair and wrinkle has a customer's name on it.
That's
So
amazing. So,
yeah,
so much, there's so much there. So, first of all, I didn't want to miss these. So, Katie said, love your energy, Stephanie. So positive, empowering, and
thank
uplifting.
you.
Totally agree. Brittany said that gig sounds like a blast. I think she was talking about the water skiing,
The
not
water ski.
necessarily the mortgage industry. Um, and she also said improv skills are wildly underrated. So fun to hear how you sharpen yours, which is great. So, but you left me with a bunch of questions. First of all, how would you get into the training part of that? Was that because of your mathematics that they're like, let's just have her train people?
Yes and no. Yeah, one because I had the energy and the passion
Yeah.
for it. Part of it, I was in management, so part of my job was to, bring, if I brought in new people, like, I'd always say, part of it is I think, I could teach people the mortgage aspect of it,
Hmm.
but if they didn't have the, motivation to sell or to communicate with people, then I couldn't help you. But if you had it
Right.
in you, but maybe you just needed, a lot of people would say, I understand the mortgages, but when I get these difficult customers or I have this difficult situation, I don't know always how to handle it. And
Right.
so I just always was really fascinated by when I was younger, I took like one of my first jobs, they had me take the Myers-Briggs test.
Hmm.
And I just thought that was so interesting. And I really, so I was just really passionate. Right now I say I have a self-proclaimed, I have to preface that, self-proclaimed PhD in personal development and a
Yeah.
master's degree in self-awareness. Because I've always been, my dad was in sales. So I think when I was 10 years old, he handed me the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People,
Yeah.
because
Great book.
He went to a Dale Carnegie seminar and he was talking about it. And I was just, fascinated by it. So as I in management trying to coach and train people, I decided to just outside of I worked at Wells Fargo Bank. Outside of that, I took training on my own. Again, just like I did in fifth grade to go to take a
Right.
math
Yeah.
class. I took training classes to get certified. And as I would talk about it to my team members and coworkers, they were like, "Wow, this stuff actually works. This is pretty good."
Yeah.
And so then, they'd be kind of talking. And so I would be on team calls and, I worked it was a Fortune 500 company across the country, Wells Fargo. And people would hear me out in Boston or Florida. And they're like, oh, yeah, I heard you on a call. Like, that was really good. Can you talk to
Huh.
my people and can you train my people? And I was like, sure. Because it was one, we're all one company, one together. And so
Right.
that's where I really got a lot of experience. And it gave me the ability or the opportunity, I should say, to be able to coach and train people in all different areas of the financial sector. Right, even
Yeah.
people that were in the IT world that were not in sales. I had an IT manager call me up, and she's like, "Oh my God, these people! Nobody talks on my calls. Nobody collaborates." I'm like, well,
Right.
and I did their analysis, their behavior style analysis. I'm like, well, they suffer from analysis paralysis. Their behavior style, they were so focused on the details and analytics, and they wouldn't want to speak because they were so focused on getting it right and being factual and accurate. And so when I was able to understand their behavior style and talk to their manager and say they will be willing to talk, but you have to prepare them they wouldn't do good at your 60-second water
Right.
cooler questions, that type of behavior style,
Yeah.
because they like to be prepared. And so when I had a one-on-one conversation with her and kind of dissected the behavior styles and personality staff of her team, and it was the best call. These people would not stop talking. She said they talked more on the call that you led than they've talked in the past 6 months that I've been leading them.
That's awesome.
And so it was right there kind of in those moments. I'm like, yeah, people need this at all levels. And so it just, again, just fueled my passion to, I want to just, people need to learn to communicate.
Right.
It's
Right. But here's a so the one thing specifically stood out to me, and I'm definitely skipping over
sorry, I
some
know
things
I
to
go
get
all
here.
over the board.
No,
I
it's
talk
fine.
fast.
I'll follow you. It's all good. So here's what really stood out to me was something that you said in passing. You said how you would show up to these meetings and you'd be all full of energy and all peppy and happy, and then there would be somebody there who would just like not want any part in it. And you said you wouldn't let that impact you or affect you, right? So I think that's step one. And I want to know about that. Like, how do you build that up where other people's attitudes, other people's attitude aren't impacting yours negatively, right?
Right.
That's number one. And number two is, what if I need that person to be engaged or to learn or to be part of the team or whatnot? What then, right? Because there's this aspect of, don't be the puppet, be the puppeteer, right? That sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
But one aspect of that is, how do you protect yourself? But the other aspect of that is, what if you did need to get through to that individual? For maybe you manage them and you need to get through to them. So that's a two-parter. So I'm going to let you go with that.
Yeah, well, really excellent questions, David, and something really common that I get from a lot of people. And it just goes back to why I keep digging deeper into all of the affirmations and the mindset and the behavior style, is because there is, I mean, everybody has their moments and everybody has their days, and you never know what people, you say that all the time, you never know what people are going through, what's behind the curtain. Because I've had it too. People will look at me, maybe they only see me on social media, right? Or they see me at a glance and like, oh, she's all put together. She's prettier hair, jewelry, this and that. Like she has no problems. Well, peel back the onion layer, brother, sister. Let me tell you what I have been through. So I think one, it's kind of what I said earlier. It's just a choice. I can either choose to be happy or sad. So one thing I think about is kind of ask yourself, what is it, what's causing me this anxiety or what's causing me to be stressed out? And so when I encounter people like that, or I encourage you, if you're a leader of people and you have somebody, whether maybe it's in your family, maybe it's your partner, your spouse, or your kid, or your friend, or whatever, is, first of all, I think it's be a good listener, right? And compassion is kind of, what's going on? What's stressing you out? What's bringing you down? What's got you hanging your head so low? My dad used to say, your lower lip. He said, if that lip hangs any lower, you're going to trip over it. Because I'd be, there's no tripping over that lower lip. So I think about that all the time. But, and then kind of going to the behavior style. So I'll use the example of when COVID hit, all of my team members, we used to work inside the banks. We would get up every day, we'd go to our office in the bank, we had our computer, and everything was great. Well, then COVID hit and they said, no, you're not going in, you're all working from home. And for me, in my mindset, I was like, great. I don't have to put on all my hair and makeup every day and get dressed up, and I can work in my yoga pants and, just relax. It's going to be great. Less traffic, everything. And so the mistake that I made is just assuming that everybody else felt the same way I did.
Right.
And so I was on our meeting. I was like, whoa, isn't this great? We all get to work from home and blah, blah, blah. And this is going to be awesome. And I had one of my team members call me afterwards, and she exactly said that. She said, you know what? Save it. Save the cheerleader attitude. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody cares. I've already talked to everybody on the team and they all feel the same way.
Well,
The tambourine hurts my ears. You're clapping, you're cheerleader. This sucks working from home. I don't know. And
wow.
she was not older because I'm 55. She was in her 60s. I don't know how to hook up my freaking computer and my printer and my internet doesn't work and this and that. And I can't figure out, I can't print documents. And I was like, okay. So she wasn't really mad at me and my attitude. So I had to understand her behavior style, which was she wasn't comfortable with change and moving on the fly.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, how can I help you? What's causing this angst? Okay, a change in her environment and computers and technology. So I said, all right, I will send somebody on our team, a younger guy, very tech savvy. Would you mind if he came into your home? No, not at all. Went over there, got her, carried her printer and her laptop, got it set up, worked with her cable, got her internet, got her desk set up. We've got her a printer, ordered her a bunch of paper, everything. And it was amazing. In a week, she was like asking for the tambourine and the clapping and all that.
Wow.
So, but as a manager, I had to understand that, and I think we all realize that not everybody dealt with COVID. Like I, was having conversations because I was recently actually, it wasn't my choice to leave corporate America. I was planning on it, but they made the choice for me. My job was eliminated. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me because a lot of people are going through this.
Yeah.
And people have said, aren't you mad? How could they let you go? I bled Wells Fargo red. I mean, I was like the poster child for that company.
Right.
And I gave everything. And I was so good at my job and I loved it. And I did way more. My male counterparts would say, Havel, you're outworking us, man. You got to slow down. You're showing us up. But I couldn't help because I was just passionate about what I did.
Yeah.
But I just looked at it as, you know what? I had a good run. The company was very good to me when I was there. And I had opportunities to learn. The things that I learned, the knowledge and the opportunities I was given was amazing. And so I just have to say, thank you. I am appreciative for what I got, but it's time to move on and to do something different. I can't change it. They had to make a business decision. And that's what they did. Yeah. And so now I'm just working on, okay, here's what my skills are. This is what I have. This is what I can do. And now it's Stephanie 2.0. Here we go.
I love what you've done with that. And I love Stephanie 2.0. I don't think I knew Stephanie 1.0, but 2.0 is pretty cool. So a couple things. One, I love that it wasn't about the tambourine. Anybody who's watching who's been to my Kinder Kind keynote, they know I say it's never about the riced cauliflower, which I'm not going to get into that. This is your time. But when people come to you and they seem so angry at you, so often it is about something else. And it's very narcissistic to think that it's really all about us, even if they tell us that it's all about us.
Right.
So here's a question for you though. So personality assessments on my other live stream, we talk about them a lot as being controversial in terms of their use and what they do. So for me, it surprises me to think that you were excited to be working from home, because I think of you, high extroversion, right? Like I think that you're just that type of person that wants to be in the office. So how can you use personality assessments in a way where you don't overly pigeonhole people so that you do still understand their individuality and you don't start making assumptions about them or overly assuming about them? What do you find is the greatest benefit of using the personality assessments in terms of understanding people, but at the same time not then thinking you know everything about them? Because I would have bet $100 you would have been upset about having to stay home.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting, David, that you say that. And, I've done a couple of podcasts with people in different subjects. And it's really interesting too, because people say, oh, I would bet, somebody just the other day asked me if I was a fire sign. And I said, no, I'm water. And then somebody had asked if I was my horoscope sign or whatever, asked if I was a Virgo. And I'm like, she's like, oh, I thought for sure you would be that. I'm like, no, I'm a Cancer. I'm all about the love and the water and the, but going back to the question, sorry, I digress on a lot of topics, but
No, I love it.
what I think about is, so with the personality behavior style, and I think sometimes there can be some misconceptions about it. So,
Yeah.
because that's what I try to say, it's not pigeonholing people, but it's like how people like to be, it's kind of how I'm trying to think of the right words is, like how they like their communication style, I guess, is.
Mhm.
So it's not so much, it is about who you are, but I call it the platinum rule. Growing up, I was always told the golden rule: treat others like you would like to be
Right.
treated. Now, that really, no, not everybody wants to be treated with high enthusiasm. She clearly told me that. So the golden rule didn't work in that aspect. But
Right.
the platinum rule works, which is treat others how they want to be treated.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I think, so even though I'm working from home, I could still have Zoom calls. I mean, the company I started doing Zoom meeting, everybody's like, oh my God, this is revolutionary. Like I with Zoom calls, like I used to host events. And so I just started hosting them online. People didn't even know how to log into Zoom, what Zoom was.
Right.
And so I just found ways to leverage it. So I would say instead of pigeonhole, so this gal, I just understood how she wanted to be communicated to. So what was
Yeah.
important to her is she could be high enthusiasm, just like that technology person. All the people that were that high C, very analytical, factual data. It's not that they're afraid to talk in public
Yeah.
or talk to people. They just need to be prepared. They want to know. Me, like doing the water ski show, I don't care. But somebody
Right.
that's in that behavior
Right.
style of a high C would never do that. So,
Total
um,
panic. Right.
right. So I think so. It's kind of, I'm probably going off a little bit, but it's always putting people on the right seats on the bus. So I think
Yeah.
instead of saying, well, I would expect you to be this way, you can kind of adapt your situation. But like the gal on my team, I just said I could still do the enthusiasm. She was actually okay with the tambourine and the clapping and all that kind of stuff.
Huh.
But she wanted me to understand that it just took time for her. She just wasn't as excited about it as quickly as I was.
Right.
It
Right.
was going to take her time to adapt to the change. And just like the other person, the technology people too, right? They just need to be prepared, understand what it is so that you can get the most out of them. And that's what I teach with the behavior personality styles is tell me what makes you feel comfortable, right? And I think, you probably have that too, David, when you have guests, you asked, you were great. You said, is there anything that you don't want me to mention? Because
Right.
I'm sure there would be some people would be like, do not say that I was let go from my job. I don't want people to think I got fired.
Right.
Me, I'm like, whatever. I don't care. You ask me anything. I'll just tell you. No, I don't want to answer it, or okay, I just tell you everything.
Right. That's
So
so
hopefully
that's
that
great.
answers your
Knowing,
question.
yeah, that it's important to know at least as a starting point where people are coming from, and without necessarily overly making assumptions, but to have a better idea and understand. I love the platinum rule that that you got to be treating people the way they want to be treated, not the way you want to be treated. So
And sometimes people, take that the wrong way because I've had people say, well, why should I have to change for them?
mm,
Like people in management saying, well, no, I'm the boss.
yeah,
They're going to do it my way because this is how I work and this is how it needs to get done.
right,
And my response to that is, you can still, it's not that you have to change who you are. I cannot be low energy. I've tried, and then people are like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Who hurt you?
yeah,
I'm like, oh, I just got like a migraine today, but so I can still be high energy, but I have to understand that they want to take time to think about it, right? So if they're more of that analytical type person or doesn't like change, I can be like, great, let me help you with your change. I can be enthusiastic about it and be who I am, but also be patient and understand that I need to, be a little bit more detailed and thorough with those people. That doesn't mean I have to be low energy. And that doesn't mean that they're low energy. They just want the information delivered. They receive the information. They want it. And so I need to deliver it in a way that is more effective to them. But I can still be my high energy, happy, cheerful person. So
right,
hopefully
right.
that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I get that too a lot from people who want to know why should I have to accommodate, especially from leaders. And I often tell them, just because something isn't your fault doesn't mean that it's not your problem. Whether you view this as fair or not, if you want to fix the problem, if you want this person to, perform better, or to communicate better, or to be better, then you've got to meet them somewhere. Like, start crossing over to their side. So,
Right.
yeah, I love that. So, okay, let's talk about affirmations. I have to admit that I am a huge, like, I don't know that I'm a skeptic, but okay. So we've talked about, Robin Knox was on the show a while back, and she had me speaking into a mirror, right? So she had me saying stuff to myself in a mirror, and I did. I was a good sport. It was fun, but I was the whole time like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And so it is. You said people write it off as being like this foo-foo thing, this fake science, whatever. But there's real science behind this. Why is it so difficult or uncomfortable, or whatever it is, for me and some other people out there to get with this, and start using affirmations? Because there is hard evidence that affirmations affect change.
Right. Absolutely. And you know what? And David, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you're a skeptic, because as I'm launching into my public speaking career and doing this more and more, it's something that I have to accept, because again, it's kind of like not everybody wants, me, right? I have
Yeah.
to learn that there's going to be people who are going to be skeptical. So just kind of like a little backstory, and I just want to make sure I'm okay on time too. But um, the belief in affirmations, I really do, because I feel like so much people with mental health, and we really struggle, and with social media, people feel like they get beat up and we're judged and everything. And so kind of my take on affirmations, it's I call it a mindset system. And it's so what I do is I ask you to choose words and letters of affirmation using the letters of your name. So if I were to say, who is David, right? So people would, you might say, well, I'm a scholar, I'm this, or, well, I think I'm a good husband, I'm a good dad, a hard worker.
So this is
Um,
somebody other than my wife who you're asking, because she wouldn't say any of that.
I mean, just even like sometimes people do struggle to come up with words and phrases
Right.
about, like you were saying, when you had to look in the mirror and
Right.
you're thinking, well, I don't know, like, and especially, we're having a bad day, right? Like, oh God, I've gained some weight. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
But when I say ask you who you are, so the reason I tie it to your name. So
Mm.
I encourage people to use words and phrases of affirmation using the letters of your name. And it came about um, from when I was in college and my mom had died suddenly. And so my dad came from a really strong family, and I was, shocked. I was overwhelmed with grief. I was devastated. I'm 19 years old and I get a call on a Sunday morning. Your mom just died this morning in her sleep.
Wow.
Okay, I just talked to her on the phone 2 nights ago. Not sure, like, how am I going to go on with life, right?
Hmm.
And so my dad, again, he's an amazing man. He's still alive. He's 84 years old, and he's whip smart, and he's always been my biggest champion and cheerleader. And so my dad said to me, I'm just overwhelmed with grief. And my dad was, it was 8 days later after my mom had passed, and the funeral proceedings had gone on and everything. And it was like, all of a sudden, business as usual. I'm like, where are you going? What do you mean? You're going back to work. Mom just died 8 days ago. Are you kidding me? How are you going back to work? And you want me to go back to school? I can't even function right now.
Hmm.
And so, basically said, hey, the sun's going to rise and sun's going to set every single day. And every day you have a choice. You're going to get up, do something with your day, because you're breathing. You got 2 legs. You can walk out that door, eyes to see, ears to hear, a mouth to speak. You got to get after it, girl. And I said, I don't know how, Dad. I can't muster up a positive thought to pull myself out of bed. I just want to lay in bed, eat hot dish, and watch Oprah. I don't know. So Hallmark movies. And so my dad said, you know what? Who are you, Stephanie? Maybe who am I? He said, no, who is my daughter, Stephanie? Well, I'm a 19-year-old college student whose mom just died. Okay, that's me. That's my life. I let my situation shape
Yeah.
my outlook and who I was.
Hmm.
And he said, Stephanie is a strong girl, and she's talented. You're going to get a job. You're going to finish college, girl. You're talented. You have had energy. You are energetic. And girl, you are fierce. You've always been a fighter. You're fierce. And I think you're amazing. You've always been amazing. And you never quit. You've never quit when you were younger, and you're not going to quit now. And you're inspiring. You're inspiring to me, inspiring other people. Those letters of your name, those words resonate. Those are the letters of your name. That's who Stephanie is. Every day you get up, that's how you're going to show up. So to your point of Robin, you got to look in the mirror and say, who is Stephanie? I'm a strong, and because I'm spelling out my name.
Right.
So it really is me. And the more you can choose, I have people take this exercise, and sometimes it's words and it's a phrase. I had a friend named Amanda, and her D was she was a damn good mom. And I had a friend, Deborah, and the AH, she kept saying, well, if I get this job, then I'm going to be happy. And if I had a boyfriend, I'd be happy. And if I lost some weight, then I'd be happy. And so we did this exercise, and she came up with, at the end, for Deborah, the AH, accountable for her own happiness. And it really resonated with her, because when she's gotten into her low moments and thinking, if I had this, no, Deborah is somebody who's accountable for her own happiness. And so that's where I feel like these affirmations can be powerful, because it's your name. It's you choosing those words, and it forces you to come up with a word or a phrase, because you have to spell out your name. And I tell people, like I even use it when I'm at the gym. I can think of a million reasons every morning. I work out at 7 a.m. and I don't want to go. And I'm tired and I'm there, but I'm like, okay, I'm strong, I'm tough, I'm enough, sometimes they say I'm fat. I'm like, no, I'm fit. I'm not fat, I'm fit. I'm fit. My F is fit. And I'm fabulous. And I'm awesome. And I'm next level. And I got this. Sometimes my eye is just, I got this. But I've grounded it so much that when I choose words and phrases of affirmation, they either have to be at STEFANRI.
Yeah.
And you can do it with your family, like the Shar family, or who are the Havels. We're happy, we're amazing, we're victorious, we're energetic leaders. That's who the Havel family is. So it's a fun exercise that anybody can do. You can do it with your kids, with clients, with friends, with family. And then again, it's who you are. So that's why I'm just really passionate, because people do the mental health in kids, and people just struggle. But when they have to say their name, I can tell you, David, and to those listening, I've never had anybody come up with a negative word, because you might, I always say too, start talking to yourself and stop listening to yourself, because we do all these voices. I mean, I got like 30 of them talking to me. You're this, you're that, I'm thinking. Right. But when I have to stand up and spell out my name and say those words and look in the mirror, I don't want to say those words to my face. Right. And I don't want to say that's who Stephanie is. So
I love that that it came from your father, and I love that, because you had that external cheerleader, but your father isn't always there. And so Madeline had said, if you're struggling to see your own values, so will other people. And I think that's totally true. There's so much validity to that. The question is, sometimes you need that push from somebody outside to kind of give you that, right? And then you can, but you now owning it, I think there's so much value there. I love that. And Christy said, you're so inspiring and encouraging, Steph. I have such respect for you. Thank you for being fully you. That's awesome. Aww. And LinkedIn user, sorry, their name isn't popping up, but nice job, Stephanie. Love the energy. So yeah, the story you're telling yourself is clearly you're onto something, because people are recognizing it. So
you can use it too as your mantra, before, if you have to go into an interview, you've got to go talk, you have to have a hard conversation with somebody, or you're a speaker and you got to go on stage. I mean, we got to sometimes psych ourselves up for something, and it's like, oh, okay, I got this. I'm going to do it.
Right.
I'm Stephanie. I'm strong, talented, energetic, fierce, amazing, never going to quit, inspiring person. And I can rattle it off, and it's like, whoo, okay, that's who I am. I just said my name. It's me.
I love that. Stephanie, we're already like at the bottom of the hour. And this is crazy, because we've got so much more that I want to talk about. But strong Stephanie, I love that you're doing this. So I think it is a good homework assignment for everyone that's watching is to come up with their affirmations using the letters of their name. And if you're on here live, you're watching the recording, or you do this a week from now after watching this, come back and put it in the chat, or they should reach out to you privately. Right? How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, and I was going to say too, I have a special Facebook group um, dedicated to the affirmations. I don't know how I can get it to you, but or I can put it on my page because
That's
it's
not this
really fun.
Facebook page. That's not this one, right? If they
No,
hold their
that's
phone up to the QR code, they get your Facebook page, but that's not this one that you're talking about.
cor-
Okay.
correct. But you can send me a message on that Facebook page, and I can get you the link. It's called "What's in a Name," and
Cool.
I've just had hundreds of people share their name affirmations from the different presentations that I've given, and across the U.S. And people share. I've got videos and stories, and it's just people. There's a group of people down in the Southwest who all use it for their business card. They created their business card, and their name has their words on it. So it's been
I
awesome,
love
but
it.
it's just fun to get ideas how everybody else has come up with it and how they've used it. But absolutely, just reach out to me, Stephanie Havel. I'm on all the social platforms, uh,
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, you name it. I'm just Stephanie Havel.
Awesome. So people are definitely going to have to reach out to Stephanie. There's so much amazing stuff here. We're going to have to bring you back. And maybe next time I'm just going to like push go and I won't even be here. You are amazing, and just your enthusiasm and your energy. There's a lot of ease there. But also your experience and education truly show through with all this. So I think that that's really amazing. So
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I'm really passionate about sharing my message. That's why I said there's no plan B, there's no going back to a corporate job. I just want to share my message. I want to speak to groups and organizations and get people doing this and helping people with communication. So even communications through affirmations or affirmations through behavior and personality styles. It's like what I said in the beginning, the life purpose, just find that joy, just pour out the love, and just make the most of every day, every day. Right now, put your hand in your heart. You're breathing. You can feel your breath. You can feel your heartbeat. It's a good day. It's a good day.
yes, I love it. Thank you. We should have held this at like 9 o'clock in the morning. This like woke
Thank
everybody
you.
up. I love this. So hang on 1 second, but I want to encourage everybody to be here next time, which I believe is, sorry, I got to peek around my camera here, Wednesday, June 14th at 12 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be featuring Ari Gunsberg. He's an inspirational speaker, wilderness coach. If you're following this guy on LinkedIn, you see some amazing photographs. Apparently, when he's off speaking and working, he's out there like taking photos of all this nature, and it's really cool. Really inspiring guys. So I hope that you will tune in when we talk about unlocking everyday greatness from adversity to adventure. And I hope that you will connect with Stephanie. And if you're not connected with me and you found this somehow, shame on you for not connecting with me. Please do that right now. That's my QR code right up here. This mirror thing really stinks. There you go. So make sure to connect with both of us and continue the conversation. Alicia says, better than a cup of coffee. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Stephanie, thank you. And thank all of you for tuning in. We will see you next time.
All right. Thanks so much, David.